If you are a woman, you need to watch this video. Today I'm going to be talking about two very important things that a lot of women do not have any education on. I'm going to break this video down into three parts. First, I'm going to talk about a natural hormone cycle and what it looks like. Then I'm going to talk about what it looks like when you're taking birth control and how the hormones are altered and changed. And then I'm going to talk about my personal opinion on it as a naturopath student and why I recommend that you stay as far away from synthetic birth control as you possibly can. Okay, so also, a little disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional, don't take advice from me, don't get mad at me if you come off birth control and then get pregnant, it's not my fault. This is just my personal opinion and what I have found works best for me, and I think it might help you. So take this with a grain of salt and discernment. Yeah, discernment. Okay, I'm going to try to make this as simple as possible because hormones can be super complicated. Basically, what I need you to understand is in a woman's natural hormone cycle, there are a couple different things that occur. So first, it all starts in your brain. So your hypothalamus is going to make a hormone called gonadotropin releasing hormone, and that is going to prompt your pituitary gland to make two other hormones. One of them is follicle stimulating hormone, and then the other one is luteinizing hormone. So follicle stimulating hormone is the hormone that prompts your body, your ovaries, to mature a egg. From your ovaries, it's going to start to mature. And then the luteinizing hormone is the hormone that makes the egg actually drop into the fallopian tubes and is what prompts ovulation. So we're also going to talk about the 4 different phases of your menstrual cycle because most women don't even know that there's 4 phases. They just know that there's a period. So the follicular phase is when that first hormone, the follicle stimulating hormone, is released. So that is when an egg matures in your ovaries. And then the luteinizing hormone or ovulation is when it actually drops into the fallopian tubes. These two hormones, FSH and LH, are both going to prompt your ovaries to make more hormones. So those hormones are going to be estrogen and progesterone. So estrogen and progesterone essentially they do a lot of things, but to make it simple, basically they just get your body ready to have a baby. They prepare the uterine lining, they make it so that it's a perfect environment for a fertilized egg to thrive and grow, okay? Let's say that you didn't get pregnant, right? Then you will be moving into the luteal phase, which is the time between ovulation and your next period. So towards the end of this phase, your estrogen and progesterone that your body had been making are now going to drop completely because there's no baby, so there's no need for your body to prepare for a baby. So estrogen and progesterone are going to drop. That drop in estrogen and progesterone is what signals your period to start. That's what signals your body to start shedding the uterine lining and what causes you to bleed. So the main thing I want you to take away from a woman's natural hormone cycle is that there are 4 different phases and that it's FSH and LH that prompt your body to make estrogen and progesterone. All of these are what are going to prepare your body for a baby. If the baby is not there, then the estrogen and progesterone drop and then you have your period like you would. And this repeats every month. So now we're going to talk about what it looks like when you take birth control. So today I'm going to be talking about CHC birth control, which is made up of estrogen and progestin. So there are some that are only progestin, but I'm not going to get into that today. We're just talking about the general pill that you would get if you go and ask for birth control. So these are 2 synthetic hormones that mimic your natural estrogen and progesterone. So for a woman who is on birth control, she is going to have estrogen and progestin in her body for 3 weeks at a time, okay? And what that does is it tricks your brain into thinking that you have already ovulated because like we just talked about, your body only produces estrogen and progesterone from FSH and LH, which comes in the hypothalamus. Those are the 2 hormones that make you ovulate. Because you already have the estrogen and progestin, which mimic your natural estrogen and progesterone, your body thinks it's already ovulated. Then you take the 3 weeks of those pills, and at the end of those 3 weeks, you start taking the sugar pills. You start taking these placebo pills, your levels of estrogen and progestin, your synthetic hormones, are going to also drop. This mimics your natural drop in estrogen and progesterone, like when you're about to get your period. So you get a withdrawal bleed. It is your uterine lining bleeding because, again, it mimics that natural fall in those hormones, but it's not a real period. So essentially, what birth control does is it interferes with your hormones and the way that they communicate with each other. So your body is tricked into thinking that it has already ovulated when it hasn't. So you never ovulate when you're on birth control, leading to no baby. And it's a really smart idea if you don't want to have a baby. So, now that you understand how birth control actually works, I'm going to give you my personal opinion on it, my qualms, and the reason that I'm such an advocate for women not taking synthetic birth control. Number one is that you are not ovulating. You are not ovulating for some women are on birth control for up to 5 years more of their life. For 5 years, you are not ovulating at all. And that is not normal, natural, or healthy in any way. Aside from making a baby, the hormones that you get from ovulation, which is progesterone and estrogen, are essential to so many other areas of your health, like your heart health, bone health, thyroid, skin, gut. Literally, it's all connected. And if you are not ovulating every month, that is not good for you in at all. It's just not good for you. So that is one reason I do not like birth control, is because it is not healthy for a woman to not be ovulating for that long in her life. Like, if you think about it, literally our bodies are designed just to keep us alive and help us make babies. So the main function of your body, which is to reproduce and ovulate, it is not doing for a very long amount of time. And instead, you're getting fake hormones. The second reason that I hate birth control is because it is very often given to young women who are struggling with other issues. For example, like a 13-year-old girl might come to a dermatologist for acne, and the dermatologist will give her birth control, which will help fix the acne because birth control limits androgens. It also suppresses your natural hormones, estrogen and progesterone. So while it may help in the moment to get rid of this 13-year-old's acne, she has an underlying problem with her hormones, or she may not, because she's 13 and she's still going through puberty. But my issue with this is you are giving young girls whose hormones are not even anywhere close to being done balancing themselves or leveling out, and you're giving them fake hormones, suppressing it to where their body doesn't even know what a normal natural hormone cycle looks like, because since they were 13 they've been getting fake hormones, and again, not ovulating, not healthy. So I don't like it because these girls are still young, they're still growing, they're not anywhere close to being done with puberty yet. It takes a while for most girls to get a regular, steady period and for their hormones to balance themselves out. When you're first going through puberty at 13 years old and you're getting your first periods at 13 years old, they're not going to be super great because your body is still balancing, it's still trying to figure itself out. And so instead of trying to address what the imbalance might be, because the reason for this 13-year-old acne is because either she's got too much estrogen or she doesn't have enough progesterone or she's not detoxing properly. It's something within her body that is just not in complete alignment. Doesn't mean that something's necessarily wrong. It just means there's an imbalance. And instead of addressing that imbalance, you are literally just putting a Band-Aid over a bullet hole. So when this 13-year-old, when she's 17 or 20 or whenever she wants to start having kids, comes off the pill, she is going to have awful acne, 10 times worse than when she was 13 years old, because she's let this problem sit for years and years and years. And this poor 13-year-old had no idea this was going to happen to her because she was 13 and no one told her what birth control does to you, or that if you go on birth control for acne, when you get off, it's going to be 10 times worse. So that is something I absolutely hate about it, is that it is overprescribed so heavily for symptoms that can be fixed without birth control. You can fix acne by balancing your hormones. You can fix your bloating by balancing your hormones. You can fix your heavy periods by balancing your hormones. A lot of women do not realize that getting on birth control at a young age is going to cause such a long-term effect when they're older. It's going to give them consequences that they did not even ask for or choose because they were 13 or 12 when they got on this pill that their doctor told them to take. So that's one thing I fucking hate about birth control. The last thing I hate is something that I know a lot of women are going to resonate with, but I know there's going to be a percentage of people who are just like, that's not really, it's too woo-woo for me. And that's fine, because I'm talking to the girls who know what I'm talking about. You know that you are an intuitive, divine being. You know that your health is more than just a physical body. You know that it has to do with your mind and your spirit as well. So you are going to understand what I'm talking about. Your natural hormone cycle and your natural body rhythm is sacred. The fact that you can create life in your body is a miracle. Like, that is miraculous in itself. And as a woman, you are magical just because of that. And so your cycle is sacred. It's exactly that. Beautifully orchestrated system that when you lean into it and you learn to work with it, your whole life is going to get 10 times easier. When I was just last year, I struggled so much with my hormone health. I had no clue about anything. I didn't know anything about anything, but all I knew, I had this intuitive feeling like I need to balance my hormones. And I'd seen it, like on Instagram, I'd seen people talking about it, and I was like, maybe I should check that out. And so I did. And I went a little far down the rabbit hole and literally turned it into my whole career because, like, it's so interesting. And also, it had such an impact on my life. Like, just learning about my cycle and my body changed my life completely. It changed my appearance completely. It changed everything. And I'm so much happier now. I look so much better. I feel so much better. And it's like I want to be able to share that with other women as well, because I wish someone had told me sooner. Because girl, my life got so much better. Like, oh my God. The thing that I hate about birth control is that it completely disconnects women from this beautiful, sacred, divine clock that you have, which is your natural body rhythm, right? Like your natural cycle. And the thing is, like, there's some people who, like me, they sync their entire life to their cycle. Literally, my entire life revolves around where I am in my cycle. I've changed the way that I go about productivity, I go about working out, I go about eating, all catered towards my cycle, because there's certain time periods that are better for certain things. When you're in your follicular and your ovulatory phase, the hormones that you have going on, which is like the slight rise in estrogen, that's going to make you feel good. That's high energy. It's happy, like you're energized and you are ready to be productive, to get on stuff. But then that last week before your period, you are not going to feel good. You're not going to be as productive because you're not like a man. You're a woman. You have different time periods for different things. And men are not like that. Men's hormone cycles are day in, day out. They wake up, they get a boost of testosterone, and then it starts to fall towards the end of the day. They go to sleep and they wake up and it's all restarted. So, as a woman, trying to live in a world that is completely catered towards the man's circadian rhythm and hormone cycle, it's difficult. And that's why you see so many women sick, struggling, exhausted, overworked. It's because you're trying to work in a way that is just not meant for you to work. Like, you as a woman are not meant to work as a man. And yet, because we're women and we can do fucking anything you want to do, we are. There are so many women who are working like a man, and they have been because they had to. Like, they just had to survive. They had to do it. And anybody knows, like, women are resilient and they will survive anything. But it's like, we're not in that time anymore. We're no longer, I was just talking about this with my aunt actually the other day. Like, I was talking to her about how I was taking red clover because I was in my follicular phase, and I was like telling her all about it. And she was like, like, we didn't have any of that. You had babies, you had to cook, you had to clean, you had to do whatever and be on your period and then go to work. And like, her just talking about it. And she was just joking around, but like, I really thought about that, and I was like, it's so true. Like, there's so many women, and it makes me sad because it's like, I feel like the older generation of women got stuck in like this lie of like feminism, of being like, yeah, go to work and like, go be free and stuff. But it's like, then they had to take on both loads of going to work and also being a mom and staying at home and taking care of the house and cooking and everything. And it's like, just, it's too much. And so many women have just struggled through it. They've just pushed on and burnt themselves out. And they're unhappy and sad and sick now because that's what they did their whole lives. And it's like, I truly, truly believe that, like, we do not need to do that anymore. Like, you don't have to hustle to get what you want. You don't have to try to find success the way a man's going to find success, or be productive the way a man's going to be productive. Like, that is not going to work for you because you're a woman. Like, you could make it work for you. Yeah, you could definitely do it, but it's going to be hard. So it's like, why would you choose to try and do something more difficult when you could go the way that you're supposed to go and it'd be easier for you? Fixing my hormone health and getting in touch with my cycle like that, it has made me so much happier. It's made my life so much easier. I'm so much more productive, and I'm a lot more compassionate with myself. Like, it's just so good. And I'm going to make a video on cycle syncing and like how I do it and how you could do it as well. Because I think that's like a whole different topic for another video. But the whole point of this video is just to shed some light on, how your body works as a woman, and what birth control actually does to it, and why it might not be great for you. The thing is, there's other natural contraceptives that you can use that are effective. What I do, I'm not on birth control, and I'm extremely fertile because, again, I take care of my hormone health, but obviously I don't want to get pregnant. I don't want no babies. So what I do is I track my cycle, and I am aware of when I'm going to be in that fertile window. Anytime close to that fertile window, I don't have any unprotected sex, and I check when I'm ovulating. So I will, one, I take a little strip test, and also you can check your body temperature. So if your body temperature, when you're ovulating, your body temperature is slightly risen, so you can check and see if that's when you're ovulating. So those 5 days up until when you're ovulating, don't have sex. Just don't do it, because then you will get pregnant. But after that, the egg has already dropped, girl. Ain't nothing gonna get in there. So after that, just, do what you want to do. This method, when done correctly, is up to 99% effective. 99% effective is literally more than a condom can give you. And I'm not saying don't use condoms. Condoms are good. And honestly, I also encourage using more than one birth control method. So like if one cycle awareness, but then also like withdrawal and condoms. But the point I'm trying to make is like birth control isn't the only option. So many girls I talk to who are like, oh, like, but I'm so scared of getting pregnant. Like, I don't want to get pregnant. And I get it, girl. I don't want you to get pregnant either. I don't want you to have no babies you don't want. But there are still ways to prevent that are, like I said, when done correctly, up to 99% effective, which is the exact same as birth control if you use birth control correctly as well. Now, like I said, there's always some risk because perfect use and typical use are different. With typical use, fertility awareness methods are up to 88% effective, whereas the pill would be 91% effective with typical use. But again, if you are still worried about that small percentage, then you can add on other birth control options. So again, not having sex anywhere close to your fertile window, or if you are going to have sex, make sure you're wearing a condom and then also do withdrawal. And that way you're even having even more chances of not getting pregnant. So, anyways, y'all, this is just my little spiel. Like I said, don't freaking take my advice with a grain of salt. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. But yeah, I hope you like this video. And I don't talk about hormone health as much on my channel on YouTube, but it's literally all that I talk about on Instagram. So go follow me on Grow with Issa. And yeah, stay tuned for the next video. Love you.